Consent agenda as presented.
Right. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Good,
Everybody, how's everybody doing?
good.
Well, I'm happy to come here to present for a few points. Unity and belonging. Juneteenth brings people together from every opportunity to learn, celebrate culture, and opportunity to learn, celebrate culture, and see themselves reflected in positive and inspiring ways. Economic benefits, larger attendance, which this year I have some ways that I want to make sure that we have even more people out there. And I did a lot of research on how to do that. And with the things I do also in other areas like Topeka, Wichita, and all over across Kansas, I'm going to go and promote this Juneteenth bigger than ever to make sure that we get other people out here from all surrounding areas. So online promotions, EventNet, Eventbrite, Facebook, of course, and Instagram. And I'm gonna use these sites to promote that our platform.
And last year we did 10,000 as well. Last year was your 25th anniversary, is that
Yes,
correct?
sir.
And before that, you did 5,000 per year?
Yes,
All the years before that, that's what
yes,
we did last year because it was a special event.
yes, it was anniversary. We want to go with a bang on that day. And I just see that like when commission came out, it put us on the map with those people performing, those big performers, and they didn't know nothing about Judges City, but they loved it. They loved the atmosphere and the people that they performed in front of.
I had the opportunity to come out last year, and it was a great time, and I was happy because I got to dance with people too.
Yeah.
If there's dancing, I'll be there. I do have a couple questions about the funding. It sounds like we did provide the 10,000 last year. Outside of the 10,000 contribution from the city, what other means of funding are you receiving?
The other meeting of funds, we are going to speak to the CVB, am I saying it right? The CVB, which Valerie was going to be present here today, but she's not feeling well. We will be presenting to them as well.
Okay, and how much will you be requesting from them?
Off the top of my head, she deals with that part, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yes,
Have you received funding from them in the past, or will
Yes.
it? Okay.
yes. I
Are
believe
they-
it's like 1,000 last year we got from them.
Okay,
Yeah.
understood. Is there any other funding you're receiving from additional entities or fundraising efforts?
What we get other funding we get is from people just sponsoring us.
Okay.
Businesses, local businesses. I use my business to sponsor and promote too.
Okay. Do you know roughly about how much in sponsorship you accrue?
I want to say last year we did about 3,000.
Okay. Okay. I have no further questions.
Are there any further questions? So what is the will of the commission?
I move that we approve the request as submitted. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Thank you for your hard work.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Next item is request for use of opioid funds by Carl Taylor.
Hello and good evening. I'm here from the Restoration Center requesting opioid funding. I want to thank this body for allowing us to come before you and just to present. To give you a real snapshot of the Restoration Center, our clinical director is here. She's a licensed clinical social worker. She's going to come up and talk about the actual agency itself. We also have our program director from the women's program that is here, as well as the program director for the men's program, Brule, is here. That just came up and talked. He is in charge of the men's program as well. And then I'll come back and we'll talk and address the funding part. Thank you. Patricia.
Hi, my name is Patricia Wilcox, and I am the Regional Clinical Director at Restoration Center. Thank you for allowing us to present tonight. The Restoration Center has been providing treatment services in Kansas since 2005. And we currently have offices in Junction City and Wichita. And we also provide services at the Geary County Jail, the North Central Kansas Regional Juvenile Detention Facility. We go to Be Able in Manhattan. We go to the Riley County Law Enforcement Center, and we also provide telehealth treatment services across Kansas. So we offer groups and individual sessions with adults and adolescents. We have the following modalities. We have level 1 outpatient treatment, level 2.1 intensive outpatient treatment, and then level 3.1, which is our reintegration homes. We have ADIS, which is Alcohol and Drug Information School. We do provide anger management services and also mental health services. And during 2025, we provided services for 435 clients, and 259 clients were in Junction City. And currently in 2026, we have served 129 clients in Junction City. And then in our men's and women's program, our women's program opened in December of 2024, and to date we've had 21 women in the program. And since December of 2025, we have had 7 women in the program. We also have a men's program. It just recently opened in September 2025, and we have had 20 men in the program since it opened.
My name is Nicole West. I am also a licensed social worker, and thank you for letting me speak. I'm only going to speak on an impact, making an impact statement. I was born in East Germany during the Cold War era. I experienced violence, gun violence, very early on. My grandmother at that time vowed that she would get us in a better place, which she did. But unfortunately, I had an absent parent, 2 absent parents. One was an alcoholic and one was not there. At 15, I became a mother. I had no idea. I'm sorry, this is very emotional because this is my story. I had no idea what a mom is. I never was taught, but I knew I would be present. After 9/11, I decided to come to the United States and join the United States Army, become a U.S. citizen, which I accomplished. Unfortunately, I experienced sexual trauma. My body went under multiple surgeries, and along with that came a legal prescription that kept on and kept on and kept on. Unfortunately, the prescription stopped, but the addiction didn't stop. That furthermore led to becoming unhoused, losing my marriage, losing everything I ever have worked for. The disparity of addiction or substance use disorder, if you have not experienced it firsthand, it's very hard to understand, and I understand that. But I'm advocating for medication-assisted treatment, because without this, I wouldn't be here today. It saved my life. It allowed me to become a mother. It allowed me to become a licensed master social worker and a licensed master addiction counselor. It allowed me to give back to the community. Medication-assisted treatment does not replace one drug with another drug. It replaces chaos with stability. It reduces harm, reduces crime, reduces emergency room visits, and it reduces the likelihood that my son would have grown up without a mom. When we fund MAT, we are not enabling addiction. We are investing in public safety, reducing incarceration costs, decreasing recidivism for nonviolent offenders, and preserving families. There are parents in the city right now, and I say this because I work with these clienteles daily that just need help. Medication-assisted treatment, I know a lot of people think, well, just go. It's not as easy as some think. There's families that are below the poverty line that do not qualify for certain things. We want to be able to help them and qualify because it saves a life. Medication-assisted treatment saves life. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Madam Mayor, may I approach? What I'm presenting to you is a memorandum that explains our Restoration Center, who we are, what we do, and then the information that's been discussed. Also, on the second sheet, it attaches there and it has the funding request for it, as we're requesting for the funding. What we're asking from this body, is not to finance our program, but to partner with us in the financing of medicated assisted treatment services. So when you look on the back page and you see that Excel spreadsheet, we're simply asking you, the body, to approve $41,310 to be combined with our contribution of $41,310 so that we can provide treatment services for 9 clients in the Junction City community. So as you look at it, the total amount is slightly above $116,000. So as you look at those numbers, we're only asking for 36%. For one person, it's 4% of the allocation that the city of Junction City has. As far as funding is concerned, we receive funding from Senate Bill SB 123. So we have clients that will end up having to go to treatment in lieu of going to a correctional facility. We receive Medicaid funding from all 3 providers. We receive APS funding from the state of Kansas. Insurance, we're just like any other behavioral health center, we receive the funding. What we need is to address in Junction City the poverty, those that fall below the 200% poverty guidelines. There's no funding for them, none. So a person may come in and he or she a drug of choice may be meth, they may be using fentanyl, they may be smoking marijuana and drinking alcohol. It's called polysubstance abuse. He or she there's nothing to help them transition. As Nicole was saying, it's not that we're asking you to pay for a drug, no, but to put them at a stable place to help them make a positive decision about their future. And if you look at the statement, what I wrote on here, just by them providing this treatment option will directly impact the possibility for clients to recover, achieving long-term recovery, positively impacting themselves, their family, and the city of Junction City. Thank you.
Questions?
I have a couple questions.
Yes, ma'am.
First question is, I see that you do a variety of communities within our area and within the state.
Yes, ma'am.
Would these funds be reserved for people who are determined to have a Junction City address, or would it be anyone who comes to the facilities within your scope?
All funds received from the city of Junction City, just like Wichita, just like Manhattan, just like all the other areas, those funds will be used directly for the residents or for the citizens of that community. I just bring to the attention of this body that a person may be passing through, he or she gets arrested, they end up in Gary County Detention Center, then they become a citizen of Junction City or Gary County, and so when they come out, that person may end up in our home while we're going to Gary County to the jail. We start working with them in the jail, providing treatment services there at a point or at a place where they're stable enough to hear what we're saying. And so he or she makes a choice to leave and to go to our homes over there. At the time when they leave, a peer mentor will pick them up, put them in a van, drive them over. So we're not trying to let them go nowhere and get their last little trip or run or whatever. We're bringing them into a sober environment, and they'll follow the directives of the courts. We work with drug court, and so they have curfews, and we follow all the guidelines of the drug court.
Excellent. Have you received opioid funds from the city in the past, or is this the first time that you
This is the first time we've ever requested. We've never received opioid funding from the city of Junction City.
So, a little background, which staff would provide this beforehand, but.
We didn't have it, sir. He didn't provide anything to us beforehand.
Well, what I'm saying is, in general, the opioid funds we were given was $120,000 a year or 2 years ago. And that was the deed as part of the opioid settlement nationwide. So that was our take on that. Since that time, we've had high mental health and Magno project already make requests for the entirety of those funds in one shot. We don't know if we're gonna get any more in the future or not, so maybe Mr. Stites can elaborate a little bit more than me.
So Pat,
We did not give any funding to anybody yet because we don't have a plan.
so when was the last time we received funds before
We
that?
only received one.
Okay.
We receive them throughout the year, so. December. Yeah,
I'm sorry?
we had a deposit in December.
A deposit of,
Opioid funds.
So how much do we have now?
like, how does that come in?
173,087, but you earmarked 30,000 to Fresh Start, so there's 143 in there
And once that's gone, it's gone for good.
until it replenishes. Then there's another case of opioid case, and they divvy out the money again.
And
And so these opioid funds are regulated by the state because there was a nationwide class action lawsuit against distributors, pharmaceutical companies, a number of players. And so as they reach settlements, they will pay money into it, but they even pay money over about a 20-year period. So the money will eventually stop being paid into it. And so we typically receive payments through the Attorney General's office because they'll receive the money because by law, they coordinate all the settlements. And so we receive money based upon our population compared to other cities. So we will receive payments. There was one payment last year, which kind of threw me off because the defendant paid us directly. But 99 times out of 100, it's paid through the state to us because then we have to turn around and do a report annually of we received money during 2025 and we spent money during 2025, which we hadn't yet. We have money encumbered for Fresh Start, but none's been used yet. And then we've had other
And that was
requests.
30,000 for Fresh Start?
Yes.
Yep, basically a scholarship for those to be able to make up for what their insurance doesn't cover for drug treatment for Fresh Start clients.
okay, I've got a couple more questions. So just to clarify what I'm hearing, number one, these are not funds received from our local taxpayers, and these are funds that can only be used for the treatment of addiction or adjacent services.
Well, yeah, treatment, mitigation, prevention. There were a number of requests that might meet those. And there are different theories on what can be done, but it's very broad in terms of how it either does prevention, mitigation, or reduction of harm from those, from substance abuse. The statute clearly says substance abuse, not just opioids. So this treatment, like Mr. Taylor is talking about, can't go underneath that.
Okay, and so I think my question next for you, Mr. Taylor, is should we choose to disperse these funds under the assumption that we may not continue to receive them moving forward? Have you discussed how you might plan to mitigate future treatment costs for your services and clients?
Yes, ma'am. This is the first time we will have received funding for it. So as far as how will we move forward in the future, this simply, I'm asking for the city of Junction City, as you look down at the bottom, the $41,310, just to walk with us, with the client, that these funds will go directly to him or her, not to anyone else. The treatment services that we provide on a daily basis, that's all, we have a budget for that. We receive APS funding, Senate bill funding, all those fundings. We have several, the funding streams we have funding streams
Quite
from
diverse.
Medicaid, yes, are diverse. So this isn't the only fund, these are not the only funds that we're getting from. What this is, this addresses those that have no insurance, that are not a Senate bill client in lieu of going to a correctional facility, that does not receive Medicaid funding. So this is a person that's out there on their own that has zero support. And so that's what I'm asking the city of Junction City to help me with. Let us walk together and support those who are without any support.
Excellent. I do have just a couple more questions.
Yes, ma'am.
These funds that we have received, are we required to disperse or utilize them by a certain time?
There's nothing set in stone with that, but I was told by Chris Teeters, the assistant AG over this program, that if we hit a certain point, Mr. Zimmerman and I did go to a conference last year about ways to spend it because a lot of communities aren't utilizing their money. And the money's meant to be utilized. At the same time, it's meant to be utilized intelligently. But so they gave out a number of ideas of how to do things, a number of things to think about, so.
Okay. I have no further questions at this time. Thank you.
So we've been addressed by 2 other entities asking for money from this fund, and we.
3 really, I mean, if you
3.
have Fresh Start as well. They were
Who were the other 2? I apologize.
the Macklin project and Ponyville Health.
Understood. Thank you.
And 2 of them asked for the entire fee
Yes.
of the fund? Okay, and
At that time, it was 120,000.
And the Ponyville Health wants it to set up a housing.
Right. They
Oh,
want to do their
yes,
own
I
housing
remember
unit, which they don't have right now.
And then, okay, that
can
was
you
the,
explain that a little bit better to me, because I don't know?
well, I'm not sure I'm in a position, they want to set up a facility where they would house, is it 4
3 or 4
women for
drug treatment.
drug treatment?
I think it was, I vaguely remember that presentation from last summer. They were intending to purchase kind of a house similar to what Mr. Taylor does through his organization in that way.
For $120,000, you should be able to provide, I'm not throwing rocks. No, I'm just simply stating the fact you should be able to use your combined staff and provide a lot more treatment services than that. I just bring your attention to our paragraph. We have a total of 27 men and women that are living in homes. We have 3 homes that are for women, that are for the ladies. If under the bolded part, the second paragraph, there are 2 reintegration homes for women, 1 long-term sober living facility that will open on or about April the 15th. Above that is a paragraph, sober living facility for men, where we have 7 men that are there now in a reintegration home that's there. So what they're asking for funding for, just to bring clarity to the point, we're doing that. And so I'm simply saying, walk with us as we help clients that have no options.
How long have you been providing these services and having these facilities?
In Junction, we've been in Junction City since 2005. We opened our first, outpatient services right on the corner, 235 West 7th Street is where we are. We started down where Church of the Nazarene is in that parking lot, in that building that goes north-south. We have been here since 2005. As far as providing services for men and women that are in our sober living home, we receive our license in December of 2024 for the ladies. And then, so it's been December 2024 forward. So we have those 2 homes that are there, that are providing care. There are 5 women in the homes today, and one that's scheduled, one that will be coming in the next couple of days.
May I ask a question about the homeless task force that's been talked about? Does that somehow tie all this, or could it potentially tie all this together? And do we, any comments on that?
I received the draft resolution right before the meeting this afternoon, and I sent that to you. You may have not seen it yet, but the draft resolution is out there, and the intent of that is to tie all the entities together in the city into one common team, I guess, that, like he says, walk with us to move forward with it. So that's as far as we got right now. We got the draft resolution. I've only sent it to you 5 so far to get your comments. I left it at that.
Can you give us a little bit of information about the draft resolution?
Like what?
I didn't read it. I didn't see it. I don't know what time it came in.
Okay.
Basically gonna be an advisory task force.
Yeah.
That way it can be a central hub of information as well as kind of reporting and gathering information and turning around into kind of report. There'll be maybe 11 members of it between various entities, including the city, city staff, county, school district, as well as providers and stakeholders. One thought is, even though it's not captured in the words, is it may be a thing to look at the unhoused and as well as adjacent issues such as mental health or substance abuse. And so it might be a thing like other counties or communities have utilized as a way to maybe weigh and filter those requests before they come here and not the same way, but work similar to the planning commission or BZA and make a recommendation of, hey, these 5 came, here's what we weighted, but then you would still hold the purse strings up here in the commission.
Correct.
There would be no binding or spending authority in this task force, but also it's a way that way, all information kind of goes there as a hub. That way we don't have a lot of replication, or if there's similar duplication of services, they'll coordinate here. That way you don't have Pine Mill Health trying to build next door to Restoration or whatever, so. That way they all can kind of tie in and communicate together, because right now you have a lot of good things going on, but they're not all
Is there gonna
working
be
together.
somebody in the city, perhaps one person that's dealing with these things to kind of have a person?
My
That's
intent
dealing with
eventually is once we get this going and during the process, is I'd like to hire a full-time employee in the city to do that for the city, to pick this up and have one point of contact within the city to work with all these different entities and the homeless task force to tie it all together into one team. So the citizens can go to one place to be able to talk to all the entities instead of going to the Y, going to Magnaline, going to Fresh Start, going here, going there, going to the police department, et cetera.
I'd really like to see that. I'd really like to see the cooperation. Because if we've already denied a few.
We didn't deny them, we just didn't,
Table?
we didn't act on it.
Okay.
So they're still,
But we didn't act because we didn't do us, here's 120,000, have a good day. We didn't feel like there was a plan. We didn't feel like there's any cohesion between the different entities out there, especially for duplication of services.
Based
And
on
they
the
knew the
info,
homeless task force piece was coming too, because we talked about it at the last council too, and that's the kind of piece that's waiting to be developed to tie it all together as this homeless task force.
based on the information that's been provided today, I am prepared to make a motion. If we disperse these funds, we will still have a tick over $100,000 of these opioid funds available, and perhaps at that time we can plan to reserve them for the disbursement as this future force sees fit. I'm not sure if anyone else has any other commentary before I make my
I had a
motion.
quick question.
Mhm.
On the back of the page, it says that these funds are for clients who fall below the 200% poverty guideline. So you're saying there's no federal funding whatsoever for people in that category?
No, we only receive so much funding for their population. So what I have to do is go in and redirect the same amount, the $41,320 from treatment to opioid. And so I'm asking Junction City, if they would contribute $41,000, we'd have 82 combined. So there's going to be funding that's going to be lost by our agency to provide care for the men and women who need the help.
Okay, and then the next line was the cost of a daily dose of treatment is $34 per day.
Yes, ma'am.
A total of 1,020 for 30 days, and 9,180 for 9 months. So are you saying that this is specifically going to medication
Absolutely.
only?
Absolutely. And if I could bring your attention to this Excel spreadsheet, it walks you through there. One client, two client, walks you all the way through it, the $34 a day, $1,020 for 30 days, $9,180 for 9 months. That takes us to the end of the year. So in January, the funding will be ended. At that point, you see the cost, Junction City client cost, and right beside it, you see the Restoration Center cost. And what the information I found, what is $116,000, that's what I found on the pages or internet that it showed what Junction City had. But I understand now it's 120 or maybe a little bit more.
So the 9 clients, where does that number come from?
9 clients is us working with 9 clients this year.
That is your number for
Yes,
this year?
that's our number for this year. It's challenging. If we can go into a cafeteria and you got 20 children, and because one falls into one category and one falls into another category, one doesn't eat and the other one does. And that's what Senate Bill, Medicaid, all those services do. That those men and women get to go through the line and eat. But because the others are not Senate Bill, Medicaid, or fall into a category, then they don't get to go see Dr. Lakin. They don't get to go and get a prescription. They don't get the dose of medication for $34 a day. So therefore, you have the constant relapse. You have the constant them going back committing offenses to feed their drug addiction. When if we would just invest $34 a day, it gives them the possibility to change their lives.
So how do you choose the person that gets to go through the lunch line?
It's simple. We have men and women that need help now. We have a list. The coordination with Dr. Lakin has been done. How does a person get there? We have 8 vans that will drive them there. Some will go in person. He will meet with some of them on telehealth. It's important to understand that some of our clients need more help than others because not only are they dealing with drug addiction, but they're also dealing with mental health. So if they're not comfortable, they may sit there for a few minutes and then they walk out. But if we take them to the facility and they sit there and they get comfortable, their comfort level gets to a place where the doctor can work with them, and that's critical.
I'm gonna abstain on any vote to do with Mr. Taylor, because he's a client of mine. But I do have one question that I don't know the answer to. The medication, are we talking about methadone?
We're talking they have different Suboxone, different medications that a person can use. That is gonna be determined by the doctor.
Okay.
As what?
I just want to know what you were talking about.
Commissioner Panera,
Do you wanna come and talk, Nicole?
Commissioner Panera, I'm going to ask, when we abstain, we're supposed to step away. I'll be stepping away later.
I can step away, but I just think it's important to know, as a citizen, which I can go up there and ask the same question later, I just want to know what kind of medication. It's a methadone treatment program.
I'm sorry, wrong one.
I don't know what methadone is.
So methadone used to be, it's still considered the gold standard. What has happened over the years, methadone has awful withdrawals. What happens, I'm gonna use a person that is a heroin addict. We're just gonna go with heroin. They would go on methadone because it takes away that constant need of, and I'm gonna be very forward with you all, dope sickness. They go on methadone. What happens is we don't have the withdrawals, the physical withdrawal, the mental withdrawals. But methadone became very quickly habit forming. So now is one considered, I personally consider one drug for another drug. What we're using now oftentimes in MAT is Suboxone, we have Vivitrol. These are the standards now because you can't get high. I would say this when I went through it, and I paid daily, and I can say, yes, you may sit here and say, well, you paid for your dope every day. I promise you I paid because I was sick. Paying every day is hard, especially when you have nothing. And I say this because I was that person. But moving forward now, Suboxone, you can't get high. The worst you're gonna do is go to sleep. If you think you wanna go out with a bang, you ain't doing nothing. Plus it's controlled. What it means is you go to a clinic, what Mr. Taylor was saying is the doctor evaluates you and says, hey, this is your need. I'm just gonna make something up, don't quote me. 8 milligram once a day, a strip, they dose you and you leave. You can't sell it, you can't go do nothing. So it's very controlled how this works.
Thank you.
Was that a motion that you made, Sam?
I just want to say that I respect so much what you do. I really do. And I know how much it's needed. I'm just not sure that we don't have a plan. I think that's important. And we have a few different entities wanting help too. I don't know that I'm ready to do that without more information. We didn't have any information coming into this. I didn't even know how much you were asking for, how much the fund had, or anything like that.
I know with the city of Junction City, it's just normal for me. I'm going to report quarterly on what we did. The same as I do in Wichita, the same as I do in Manhattan, the same as I do in all the other cities that provide funding. It is you should be providing a quarterly report to the stakeholders of where their money went.
Are you receiving opioid funds from those cities?
We receive funding, different ones from different places. So some areas are funded because Junction City is a smaller area, so we receive less funding here than we receive in Wichita, as you know, the largest city in the state of Kansas. So those funds are incorporated in. To answer your question, yes.
Is there any recommendations from staff? I realize, I think he's legitimate, he's done this for quite a while. They have a good program. I toured some of the facilities over there, and I would recommend everyone do that. If we fund this, we're setting a bit of a precedent, and when those funds run out, then we're going to be taking regular city, general tax funds and put it in there as well. I guess the question is it cheaper to do that than have more people in jail? Because that's what it gets down to. If it helps people get back on their feet, I mean, I think that's a good thing. And there's some good people here giving of their time. They could do a lot of different things. They choose to do this. I think that's really honorable. So, is it staff comment? I mean, what do you have any recommendation at all?
I think we're trying to set up the homeless task force for a purpose. And I think we need to keep moving in that direction. I don't think we should make a decision on this until we get the homeless task force set up and it goes to the 11 people that's recommended to be on the board as the voting members. That's just my opinion. If you gave him the money he's asking for, which is your prerogative, and I'm not gonna lose sleep if you do, then we still got about $100,000 in our budget. I'm just giving the facts. But I recommend waiting till the homeless task force is set up.
My interest is sustainability and continued success. I love what you're doing. I'm so grateful, and I want more of it, and I would love time to pull together the homeless task force and figure out how to best use that funding so it goes a long way and not ending. And so I would love for you to continue to be a part of all this, and Magdalene and Fresh Start and everybody being a part of how we solve this problem long term.
When Mr. Taylor requested to provide this presentation today, did we offer conversation about homeless task force and how these funds may play a role in that?
Yes, Mr. Taylor actually sat on that board when we discussed it all and put all our notes together. He was one of the guys that's there.
Okay.
Yeah. He actually, I think Carl has to be on the board whenever it comes to fruition. But I can't promise that because it's not my board, it's the commissioner's board. That would be up to the mayor.
Mr. Taylor, if we do not disperse these funds today, what happens to treatment moving forward?
Those people walk alone. And I understand we want to do a homeless task force. How long does that take? How many overdoses do we have in the meantime? How many family disruptions do we have? Well, and the list goes on. And the same thing is that. But to just hold on to $140,000 for the sake of holding on to $140,000 when we know we have a need. And unlike any other agency, I did not come and ask you to fund the program. I just asked you to walk with me. And let's walk with that client. Right now, we have people that don't have access to care. So what do they do? So that really becomes the question. Not what happens to me, but what happens to them.
I'm going to say, based on the 21 years of tenure you have within our city, based on the diversification of funding that you're already utilizing, based on your willingness to continue participating in our homeless task force efforts, and based on the fact that we will have over $100,000 of these funds left, I would like to make a motion to disperse these funds.
I'm going to second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr.
I'm
Taylor.
sorry. Thank you.
Sorry. the Maglin project presentation.
You're welcome. Good evening. So I am here today on behalf of the Maglin Project just to share some information about our worming shelter. We believe, knock on wood, that we will not have to do it again this year, but we wanted to give you some stats. This is something that we're very blessed to do for the county and the city. We're really thankful for the Knights of Columbus that allow us to use their hall. This is not anything that is funded by taxpayer dollars, but I do believe coming here today is going to give you a little better idea as we continue to talk about what homelessness looks like in our community and kind of some of the needs that we see. So this year, if you've seen this graphic before on our Facebook page, I just use the same graphic, but I updated. The one you saw previously was for our long shelter, the 11-day. This adds the two shelters together. And so we did basically 2 weeks of shelter this year in 2026. It's a 24-hour shelter. It's unique. It is staffed solely by volunteers. We had 37 volunteers from Junction City, Chapman, Fort Riley, and some from K-State's Catholic Student Center, St. Isidore's. We served, to give you some context, the first 2 years of doing the shelter, we served 12 and 19. This year we served 49 distinct different individuals. 22 of them were unhoused or homeless, who were not staying at Fresh Start. One was somebody who got stranded on I-70. 13 were folks who have homes, but they don't have utilities on or that are working. And then we had 13 guests who used us as a day shelter. So as you guys I think are all aware, Fresh Start is open overnight. So the guests leave at 8 in the morning and they can come back between 6 and 7. So they had nowhere to go during those times. And so they came over and we provided them food and fun and all the good stuff. We were very thankful this year, just like past years, we had a great partnership. JCPD brought in 3 individuals. Geary County Sheriff's Office brought in 1 and Grandview Plaza brought in 1 to shelter to us. I think a lot more probably were referred. So our guests, you can read there the stats. We had elderly, we had a couple families this year with kids. We had 7 different children there. We had one that had pets that we were able to work with to care and friends of animals to kind of house those pets while they were there. We had quite a few more who wanted to come but just weren't willing to surrender their pets. And so they chose to stay in their cars or other means. So this year at the shelter really showed us something, how impactful and wonderful it is to have that to have people together where we can do the work that we try to do around town without a building. So, sometimes I'm in the back office of St. X, sometimes we're at the library, sometimes we're at McDonald's trying to do case management. Having everybody there this year and with the Wi-Fi at the Knights Hall, we were able to really work on that case management component, which is so important to us, particularly jobs and housing. So in that short time that we had the folks, we were able to develop a budget with 7 of them. Ideally, it would have been everyone, but if you don't have a job, the budget's kind of hard. So we worked on that. 4 of them we were able to get employment for during that time. We had 6 others that we scheduled job interviews. So something new to our program is we have started a job pipeline. So we're working with Foot Locker, Walmart, Casey's, a number of entities in town with their HR persons or managers to try to get our folks into employment that we kind of pre-vet. We want to keep that partnership solid, so we do a little pre-vetting. We're also working with a couple folks in Manhattan area. A big one is Fire Construction. We were able to help 1 veteran obtain his VA benefits with the wonderful help of Mr. Anthony Gibson, 2 get health care, and then 3 apply for housing while they're with us. So as you know, it was cold, not maybe as cold as last year, but we know that there's a huge chunk of our community that is living without utilities. It would blow your mind if I could take you on a tour. A lot of them with kids. It's hard to get them in to shelter, to housing, because they're afraid of repercussions of the state knowing that they have children without the proper utilities. That's not how DCF works, but that's just a rumor that's out there. So we foresee that we think this is going to grow as we continue to work more with Wendy and the school district and really building that trust. So as I mentioned, we saw how wonderful it was to have that captive audience and do the work, and that really pushed us to make a big decision, and we are leasing a building here in town. We'll move in April 1st. We're going to do some work for a couple of weeks, And then that will allow us to really do that wraparound services I know I've talked about with you guys. Sounds maybe a little similar to what Kim was saying earlier, but we're gonna be one spot. When we did the best practices tour last summer, that's what we saw the other communities and towns were doing. One spot where they can go and they can get the services they need. So it's a hub. So it'll be one day a week where there's booths and perhaps Pawnee's there, perhaps Restorations is there, United Way, Salvation Army, Catholic Charities. Those entities are particularly helpful because they're over in Manhattan. And so for a lot of our clients, either they don't have a vehicle or gas money is low. And so this is a chance for them to come to one spot. And then all of our other services will be out of that building too. So the warming shelter will move there. We'll do our art therapy. We're starting music therapy. We'll do pretty much everything we do except for the meals. Our meals are too big to be in that building, so they'll stay at the Knights of Columbus Hall. But I just wanted to come up and give you the stats so you could see how things are growing. And then also as we continue to think about what homelessness looks like here, kind of an understanding that we do have a lot of folks living in cars and that we have a lot of our working poor who are just struggling to kind of have that basic necessities of utilities and food. So, do you have any questions? This is the shortest presentation I've ever given you guys. What questions can I answer?
What's your ask?
I don't have an ask,
I think she's here to inform.
just information.
Your facility that you're leasing is on 7th and Madison, is that
Yes.
correct, the church there?
Yes,
You've been here more than once, so this is about your third time,
mhm,
correct?
that's right.
You
And the
said that
shortest,
was-
isn't it?
Yeah, what's the rent?
I don't think I'm ready to disclose that
Really?
publicly. I mean, it's not, it's 1,200.
See.
That you do on the fundraiser last weekend?
We made a couple thousand.
Good.
Yes.
Excellent.
Were you on
We're
match
very
day?
thankful for the community being there.
Were you on match day too?
We were? Yes.
Okay, how'd that go?
Well, we did 7,000.
Okay.
We're very, very blessed.
Yeah.
What questions can I answer about the shelter or?
I've got a couple questions.
Yeah.
And same question I asked Mr. Taylor, in preparation of your special presentation today, did you also discuss with Mr. Zimmerman the upcoming homeless task force and how you might participate in that or navigate?
Yeah, so we've talked about it. I've asked to be on it or even as understanding that it's gonna be hard to be on it and be somebody who asks for funds. So the nonprofit is willing to be on it and not ask for funds because we think it's so crucial that you have somebody who's doing the work.
Excellent. My next question, because I'm also on the ATA board, I know that we have some upcoming changes to our bus routes at this
Yes.
time, but do you have any concerns about how those changes to the bus may or may not impact accessibility to your new location?
Thank you. Not my location. If the routes are still the ones that I saw when they came in and did the public forums, my concern is, at that time, they were talking about dropping off Smithfield and Foot Locker and the Spring Valley area. And Smithfield and Foot Locker are such an entry-level job for so many of our citizens and so many of our citizens who don't have transportation, that I just feel like that's two really crucial stops if we want people working.
You said Smithfield and Foot
And Foot
Locker?
Locker.
Understood. Thank you. I'll bring that back.
Yeah. Any other questions?
What
Well,
about access, I'm sorry,
okay.
access to Kansa Community Healthcare? Transportation or connection or relationship?
I believe that's still on the bus route. Yeah.
I do believe so as well. They've got some upcoming changes and it'll take a little time. The first thing that we've seen is the K-18 Connect, but we'll have our first meeting on the 11th, if I'm remembering correctly, so I can verify those expectations and come back with some better information.
Yeah, I do believe their listening sessions were helpful. I know Debbie Savage was there, I was there, Susan with Yeagerson with Liverpool, Geary County. So they have people that are our key stakeholders that are working with our struggling populations. And I'm
Excellent.
sure they probably took that back into consideration.
Beautiful.
You know, after, this project has been ongoing for some time. I think they've proven that they have a track record. And I would like to offer some of these opioid funds, the rent for 1 year, $14,400 with no commitment going forward. That
Can
would cover-
opioid funds be used for rent monies, or are you saying from a different fund?
no, from the opioid funds. If
They
that-
can. That was part of our initial ask after I met quite a bit with Chris Teeter, our assistant attorney general.
It counts towards mitigation, if they have a place to stay or go, and that's.
Mitigation.
Yeah, the
It's part of
mitigation.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So essentially, the services that we offer helps to keep people sober and moving up and out of addiction and poverty.
Understood. Are we doing anything at this time for the utilities within that building?
Right now, we have no city or county funding. We haven't asked for the utility funding either.
Okay. Do you know roughly what that may or may not look like? I'm sure probably.
Don't want to know. Well, Pastor Vijay, so he had the church previously, said it would be 600 to 1,000 a month.
What's your address?
Huh?
What's the address they're gonna get?
Ooh, I think it's 337. Is that right? No, I heard.
Yes.
It was Flint Hills. It's 337. Church. 7th Street, sorry, 337. Where's 7th Street? But in all full transparency, we also are discussing with two other this Catholic guilty conscience here, with two other organizations to come in and sublease a office from us to help offset the cost of utilities, because we knew that was just more than we could
Okay.
responsibly take on.
I think these asks for money should not be, it should be given one time. There's no commitment for extensions. It's just on an annual basis. So once we move forward with this task force, then we can look at something more permanent. But I think no one should expect the money for the following year. But these opioid funds are available, and they have been sitting there. I think they've demonstrated things to the community. Former Commissioner Gutierrez is supportive of this and was when he was on here.
So that, while you look up the utilities, what Pastor BJ has shared with us is that 600 was what he was paying during the week. He would, because they weren't utilizing it during the week as we would, he would turn it down to like 55 or 52. And so he told us an estimate in the winter would be 1,000. So that's kind of what we plan on. Part of that, it has those beautiful wood beam cathedral ceilings. There's no insulation.
Heat rises. So that's inclusive, that's HVAC, that's water, that's trash, that's all utilities.
That was his estimate.
Okay. I'll be interested to know what portion of that is the city water, sewer, trash. Perhaps that's something we can help you
Yeah,
navigate.
kind of 150 like the rest of us.
Yeah.
120.
I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that address in the system.
Ooh.
I think they're off.
Oh, they are off. Yes,
It will
sorry.
still show up in the system as a history of what it was in the past.
They've probably been offering, they bought the building about 1.5 years ago and it said empty, so I don't know how far past it goes.
Did we try 902 West 7th Street?
It is a 3.
Is it a
I know that.
It's an odd number.
That's my Googling. Maybe that might be their new location. They did move.
Because they're at Larry Dixon now,
Yeah.
or the main thing, yeah.
I bet you that's what it is. That's my bad. Okay, perhaps we can, when you're comfortable further disclosing those financial pieces inclusive to utilities, perhaps we can look at what we can do holistically.
I'm comfortable, I told you.
Yeah, okay, okay,
That's all we have right now, is a 1,200 a month and then that utility range of
okay,
6 to 1,000.
okay. We'll see what Mr. Wilcox can source for those utilities as well.
It's in the 300 block.
Yes, yeah, it's right there on the corner of Madison and 7th.
So we had our presentation. I think we have a motion on the table.
Correct.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I need to say something. I just realized something. This is tough. I don't know if I can, in good conscience, go forward with that, because there's discussion of him donating part of the funds back to us. So we pay rent and then he'd make a donation. So if you paid for a month's, or for a year's rent.
So we may need to have some further
We
financial
double dip.
conversations.
I appreciate, I
Okay.
want to be
That's
ethical.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I recommend maybe Ms. Mason and I can connect. That way we can make sure whatever she asked for cleanly fits under the Kansas Fights Addiction funds. That way, as of next February, when I get to report that again, we're not making headlines outside of the good things that the Magdalene Project is doing. But we'll get together and figure out a request that would be in a similar amount and go from there.
I'm just curious how much your original ask was.
The only, I don't know, Kelly. It was 119 for the opioid. I remember that. I've spoken, this will be my 3rd time, but I don't believe we asked for any money the first time. It was just the opioid funds.
And that was 119,000?
Oh, that's not true. I'm sorry, that's not true. We did, this first time we asked for 60, for just general, when they were doing the general budget. And my understanding is, I think that's in the budget, but we didn't get the funding at the time, but yes. And then the opioid funds, which I came back and said, I'd be more comfortable not taking taxpayer dollars and using this opioid money, particularly, I'd done all the research with the Attorney General's office on how it could be used.
So,
But given that, Mr. City Attorney's request, and then move to withdraw my motion or table it until the next meeting. Did you have an answer by then, Mr. Stites?
If we can coordinate, we should have an answer within a week, and then that way we can get it to Ms. Lorenzo Diaz and put on the agenda.
and do we have to decide withdraw versus table? Do we have to decide that to make it be official? Yes.
Since it wasn't seconded, I think you withdraw it. Once it's seconded, you table it.
Yeah,
It was seconded.
Either withdraw it or maybe have a friendly amendment, I don't know. That'd be,
Madam, will you withdraw your second if I withdraw my motion?
I withdraw.
I do too.
It's been withdrawn, and we'll expect to hear things in the future. How does that sound?
That sounds wonderful. Thank you.
All right, thank you. New business, consideration of the proclamation declaring April 20 through 25th, 2026 as the week of community cleanup. I believe I'm supposed to read this proclamation, but do we have to vote before I read it? Or do I just read it?
you can just read it.
Okay.
It's almost identical to the one you did last August, except we also put in no tires.
I do have a couple questions about this year's cleanup when you're ready to receive them.
Vice Mayor, Community Development Director Christopher Schrein-Guest, what can I answer for you?
Couple questions. So I was a big fan of our results last year, very excited that we are doing this again this year, and I believe we'll be doing this twice a year, potentially.
That is the plan, if that is the will of the commission, yes.
Lovely. My next question is, I believe when we first did this, we did issue a map where those 8 points will be located. Will we have that map soon? I have a bunch of volunteers who'd love to help some of our disabled and elderly folks get their items into the dumpster and do cleanups around those areas.
So we have 4 of the locations as of right now. We're still working on the other 8. Last year, we picked locations that had security cameras and well lighting areas so that we can ensure that the safety of the community and certain dumped items were not being dumped. We are still looking at the other 4 as of right now, but we will have that map coming out. I'm also making sure that we work with our community partner from the county as they are involved in this as well, so that we can make sure that the county's information gets passed out with ours.
Beautiful. Next question. Mr. Zimmerman, I think we had discussed this, but candidly, I've slept since then. Can you remind me why we're not doing tires this year and what citizens with tires for disposable may do in general, what that procedure would look like?
So last year we did over 6,000 tires.
Wow.
With that, I will say that the efforts of getting rid of the tires took almost a month long. And that was with my crew and Mr. Josh's crew going through and utilizing a company that we took out the third party and went straight with that, and it still took us a month long getting all the tires out of DPW's parking lot. With that, it was also rather expensive. With the accumulation of tires, it just took too long in the expense. So the county commissioners and city staff both agreed that it would probably not be a good idea to do it this go round.
Okay. If citizens have tires they're looking to dispose of, what is the typical process for that?
There is a typical process for that, and when we get all the information out and the flyers out, we'll go ahead and push that information out with the items that are not allowed to be dumped as well.
Beautiful. That's all I've got. Thank you. Oh.
I think there's a real economic development opportunity for some person who wants to figure out how to recycle tires. Because most of them you can free,
In Europe, they make streets.
part of the asphalt, I think.
Yeah.
And they make, the company up north of here makes benches and other things, but there's quite an
I think that,
inventory.
yeah, the problem is that they've been making mats for children, like play mats and stuff like that, and playgrounds and using, and I guess they've just learned they're toxic.
Yeah, that's probably not the best use.
Okay, duly noted. Well,
Okay. Next item on the agenda, consideration of ordinance number S 3327, final plat on the properties with a common address 00000 East Chestnut Street.
Mayor's Commissioner, again, Christopher Stragas, Community Development Director. Over the last 6 months, the review staff with the City of Junction City has been working diligently with the partners with Seven Brew for a new location off of East Chestnut Street. Through that review, we have gone through the process of land development, zoning setbacks, ensuring that it meets the economic development of the area that the city is looking forward to. The Junction City Planning Commission on February 4th reviewed these plans, discussing the likelihood of what it would take for that. Looking over the plans, they have realized that the replatting of the commercial property would not only ensure the requirements for the capabilities of bulk regulations and guaranteeing the development standards set forth by Junction City, but also ensuring that the setbacks, lot coverage, floor area ratios meet all the building requirements set by Junction City and also the ICC. Therefore, staff recommends to the City Commission and the Planning Commission that was approved by the Commission here that we approve the final plat for 000 East Chestnut for the replat for the commercial construction for the Seven Brew.
this
That's
is,
exactly where it is, 000.
yeah,
So unfortunately, it does not have an address until the final plat has been done and registered. So the actual location is just in front of the gas station right next to the roundabout where Ash and East Chestnut locate. So you guys will know it as the truck stop where all the trucks are actually parked. The person that actually owns that land is subleasing it to Seven Brew, and they are going to replat it and have the trucks removed so that they can have an actual location there.
So the truck parking is what's going?
The truck parking will be leaving, yes, ma'am.
oh, could that impact
For a
our,
coffee shop?
I'm sorry, say again?
It's a coffee shop?
It is a coffee shop, yes, ma'am.
I was curious, because I, when I saw in here that it was on the corner of Ash and Chestnut, and I saw there was a bunch of trucks there, I was curious how that would work.
So, well, they're the subsection, yes, but it's actually on Chestnut and the farthest left-hand side of the entrance going into Walmart.
So you turn into that street by Taco Bell to access it?
Correct. So actually, that location will be a right-in, right-out location. That lot was actually designated for it to actually come from the west or the east side for the application or the cars to come in. It actually wasn't supposed to have that. So that driveway will actually be marked down in the plat according to the ordinance that was set forth by the Building and Codes Department and also the engineering. We're actually taking that 70-foot driveway and they're marking it down to a 40-foot, and it will only be a right-in, right-out going from that side of that the west side of that parking location.
It's very popular elsewhere.
Yes.
Okay.
They are popping up everywhere. I think
Across the street from Starbucks, right?
it will be right across the street from Starbucks, yes. The newest location that we will see that's closest to us as of right now, Manhattan actually has a Seven Brew that will be popping up with their location here shortly. I know that has been approved.
So will this reduce well, I guess two questions, will this reduce the amount of traffic we're seeing from these semi-trucks? Will they no longer be frequenting our area as much?
From my understanding, that because the land is owned privately, it was an agreement between the truck stop there and the landowner. The landowner does not see that it is being utilized to its fullest potential, so therefore he is not leasing it back out to be utilized as that.
Understood, okay. And then my second question is, so this is that little side road by Taco Bell, you said, correct?
Correct, yes.
Been a minute since I drove on that road. Is that road prepared for potentially highly undercaffeinated?
So that road
traffic?
is taken care of by Walmart, and when they did their big renovations over the summer of '25, that portion was repaved.
Cool, thank you.
Are they purchasing this or leasing it?
So is my understanding that they are leasing it as of right now because the private owner does not want to let go of the land?
What terms for the lease?
That I don't know.
We have no idea
No,
how long it's gonna be leased for.
I do not know, no. I will say that the owner that owns that property owns 90% of the properties on Chestnut, so he leases out to other organizations on Chestnut as well. So it's not very uncommon for this person to be doing what he's done on Chestnut.
Okay.
Is there a
I'm gonna
motion?
make a motion to, the replat, it's replat, right?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor respond by saying aye.
Roll
Oh, excuse me.
Are you motioning to approve?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Commissioner Panera?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Yaskowitz?
Aye.
Commissioner Nimzit?
Aye.
Mayor Butler?
Aye.
Commissioner Landis?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Next item, I'm going to read it and then I'm going to step out. I'm going to abstain from the vote here. So it's consideration of the agreement to further the commercial rehabilitation CDBG grant as it pertains to Highland Brewery as presented.
Thank you, Mayor Butler.
Vice Mayor, Commission, what you have before you are the documents. Earlier this year, you already approved an agreement between the city and Kansas Department of Commerce to accept the CDBG Commercial Rehabilitation Grant for the Highland, because they're redoing a part of their upstairs and event area, right? Mr. Hoover, Matt Hoover, on behalf of Highland is here, as well as the Flint Hills Regional Council, who are the grant administrators for this, are here. And so basically what these agreements are, they've been negotiated between Highland and the city staff, me on the city staff, as well as Department of Commerce has been involved to make sure they're satisfied with what these are. Basically, they're trying a new approach. We are a guinea pig in a program for these CDBG directed assistance grants. So that way it'll take less time and get the money flowing to the business that has the grant, so that way they can utilize it. And so, even though they still have to follow all the normal rules, it streamlines a bit, so that way they can bid out their project for it, still get that as opposed to going through our formal process. However, they do have a track record. They have been awarded the grant. And so what this does is basically what these do is they do a few things. They make sure that since we have received the grant for the Highland project, if Highland doesn't meet certain expectations, doesn't use the correct match funds that they have agreed to, KDOC would then come recoup the money from the city. And these allow us to recoup the money from Highland to be able to fund that money back to KDOC. So we're not out anything. There's no risk to the city. Plus, there are certain what we call FTE, full-time equivalency requirements in here, including hiring certain numbers of low to moderate income individuals as part of this commercial rehabilitation. And there are overall 9 new FTEs, at least 5 of them are going to be LMI. And the thing is based on the track record and what we've seen from Highland, they should be able to do that within the time allotted in these agreements. And I would see them meeting and exceeding what we expect there. And so basically what this is directed assistance. We're not pass through, but as they do things, we'll get it approved. And as it meets what is for the grant, they get that basically paid for through by the grant. So I'd recommend passage of these agreements and signing off on them between Highland and the city. I am available for questions. Flint Hills Regional Council is, as well as Highland through Mr. Hoover.
Will the project be bid out, or is there gonna be a selected contractor, or are we totally out of the picture?
We're pretty much out of the picture of that.
It's okay with,
It's okay with KDOC, as well as it meets the federal regulations being a directed assistance program. And KDOC has signed off on that.
So basically, we're no longer the pass-through, right? It goes through the regional council and then directly to the business.
I think it still comes to us, right? It'll still come to the city, but they show us the receipts essentially.
Okay.
And then we pay it out for that. It's not going directly to Highland, no. It still has to come to us and then pay it out, and they have to prove that they paid the monies and
Okay.
to get that.
we reimburse?
I think it's reimbursed, yeah. I believe so.
That's the best. Does anyone else know the answer to that question that's here?
I'll pull it up.
That's the way I understood it.
What's that?
That's the way I understood it, sir.
I just wanted to find the particular agreement so I can point you to a subsection. Yes, reimbursement.
I move to approve the CDBG agreement as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any other further discussion? All those in favor respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Allow me to go grab Mayor Butler for us.
Next item, consideration of the approval of the personnel policies as presented and updated in 2026.
Right, Madam Mayor, Commissioner, what we have before you is a proposed personnel policy. It's only about two and a half years worth of work to get it here. I did include, along with this, when we submitted this to you a week and a half ago, an 8-page table highlighting the changes between the 2009 policies as well as the current ones. And I, as well as Ms. Kingsbury, are here and available for questions if you have any. I realize it's only 187 pages. And so the expectation of it being passed tonight is not high, but the hope is there. And I do realize you may have questions. There might be certain sections you want to look at, but I'd recommend letting me know what the questions are, and that way we can kind of have either a conversation or I can draft up a memo to address specific questions in the future. Or you can pass it now.
Let me explain it, if I may, let me explain the catalyst here, okay? We just approved the 2 union contracts, the fire department and police department, okay? So that means there are changes in their contracts that are different from other employees like other non-union workers, me, Parks and Rec, DPW, et cetera. So with those changes with the fire department and police department are holidays, et cetera, okay? Some of those holidays, at least one of them's coming up the next month or so. So if we don't get that approved, that means some people get the holiday and some people won't. So the catalyst is to try to get this book approved. If not, you do letter E, which is next, which approves those specific pieces that are affected. And then we can come back later on and do the rest of the book at another time. That's the catalyst behind this.
Because we have Good Friday coming up, which is already approved in both union contracts as a holiday, as well as May is what we would say is a 3 payday month. Because we do pay every other week is a pay period. And so that also has a leave accrual, which affects the union employees and not non-union employees. And so as was made apparent by the commission, when the union contract amendments for the JCPOA, the police, was done to make sure certain things are done egalitarian.
And
It's
then,
good to see that this was done. I mean, nothing's been done since '09. We've had so many HR directors since I've been on the commission. At least every one, or it lasts about a year or two, and then that's about it, so nothing's ever done. So I'm really happy that you guys took the time to go through all this, and your cheat sheet, if it were, with the changes was very helpful.
Because one of the big things is, it being from '09, we need to get this updated to make sure we're with EEOC, to make sure we're with,
HR stuff changes all the time.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm all in on the resolution subsection E, but I have a real concern about the change in the residency policy. Could you enunciate what the current policy is and how these changes in residency are going to substantially alter the existing policy? And the other question I have is, how many employees do we have right now that are not in compliance with the existing policy? Although, I should say in compliance. How many employees will be affected if this is not changed, the residency requirement?
Are you referring to them having to live within city limits or taking 90 days to do so?
Or the county?
Understood.
And I also think there's an oversight, we probably need to add Fort Riley to be.
Yeah, and that's why we put out here, there are things to look at. I would say none are out of compliance.
Yet.
And the reason I say that they're not out of compliance is, and they probably wouldn't be, because they might, there is a city manager waiver on that's permitted. And so that's been done. It was done by Mr. Zimmerman, Mr. Vernon, or Mr. Dingle, and has carried over through that.
How many?
I don't know.
I've only had 2 requests for waivers. Miss Gray bought a house right outside, a mile outside of town, and Jason Lankus is looking at a house 2 houses outside the city limits. Like 2 houses down the street from the limits.
I'm talking about, was the previous policy as written, did it encompass Gary County? Surely it did, didn't it?
Yeah, encompass Gary County, yes.
But did it encompass Fort Riley?
It did not have language for Fort Riley. That's something that we can put in. That makes sense to me.
That
Like, there's no issue putting that in.
Right, but is there some, I noticed you broadened it out quite a bit, the way the residency requirement is, and one of the concerns I have is having people that, it talks about they could have to report here within 30 minutes? Is that right?
For the residency return times are different, because some of them are for police, sanitation, and water maintenance. And those have been maintained, those 3 have been maintained the same, but those are done in consultation with the chief of police, the director of public works. And those are what were under, I believe, the current policy anyway for non-executive, non-department head. And so those were permitted because that's a good response time for it. Fire was extended because a part of that is looking at, they don't do as much of the full-bore emergency response like you would for a tactical situation like the police have. And so, like if you look at Fort Riley, they have people coming in from Nebraska to do their 24-hour shifts. So part of it is being competitive in the market and being realistic with what the market can bear in light of the position. So.
Yeah, my concern is that if we're going to pay someone to work here, they should at least live in Geary County personally, or on Fort Riley. And that should be, I think, across the board, unless the city commission makes an exception.
I'd like to comment on that. So my dream is to have everybody live here and have the passion and the love. I also am a military wife, and I've had his occupation kind of trumped mine, and so I had to kind of go where the judge. So so we are in a different kind of environment. I do like the way it said department heads. I live in this community. I forgot the exact verbiage, but I do understand why it can't be that way.
I think my concern with requesting all employees of all hierarchy reside within our area is, would we feel with 100% confidence that we are offering a wage that allows them to do so with a quality of life?
Problem is you have to think about the spouse too. The spouse has, a job elsewhere, they're gonna have that requirement too. So then you're gonna lose out on candidates. So I never really worry about it too much about I can see it for department heads, but, we wouldn't have a hospital if we had something so rigid like that, because we have people living all over the place, because we wanna get the best talent. It's not about where you live, it's the best talent. So I think you kind of shoot yourself in the foot. Have a great community and make people want to live here, that's great. But basically say you have to do this or forget it. Or we're gonna take this other person even though they're not as good as you, we're gonna take them instead. I don't think that's a good idea.
As a person who works from home for a company based in Texas, I concur. I have no desire to live in Texas. At one point they told me, pre-COVID, move to Texas or lose your job. I stayed here. COVID happened, so I got to keep my job, but I was invested in this area and chose to stay because of that. But I'm still just as dedicated to the business I work for in the daytime without living within that area.
Any further discussion?
Yes, well, the thing about the issue of competitiveness, we've been asked to address wage increases, and we've been asked to meet the market with those wage increases and those tables. And I think to now say, in order to be competitive, we need to go farther out. The residency issue, Stormont Vale is not a government entity. Junction City is.
I believe, yeah, I think, go ahead, Mr. Zimmerman.
As a city manager in charge of HR and the employees, okay, I look at this stuff case by case. I've had applications for individuals come in to be a high-paid salary position that refused to move to Junction City. They wanted the job, but they would not leave Manhattan to move to Junction City, and I won't hire them, okay? If you're gonna have a job like that, you're gonna work at Junction City. But if it's just a regular, I'm not saying just a regular worker, say it's somebody from DPW that wants to live in Milford, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, they're close.
But that's Gary County.
Yeah, it's still a county. So I've done this before as city manager where they've tried to implement, they have to live within the city limits. And your hiring rate goes to about 0. Because you have to canvass the area to find the best person for the job, like Mr. Landis is saying. My job is to find the best employee that I can for the city, because it directly affects the city residents. So it's very difficult to say they have to live within the city limits.
So the current policy is city limits?
No, right now it's Gary County unless it's waived. And that's one of Ms. Kingsbury to maybe address from HR, her perspective on that.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for your time this evening. So I'm gonna go ahead and I will use myself as an example. I will be just very blunt. When I was hired, I was given an exception to live in Manhattan. It would have been a huge culture shock for my daughter and I, coming from a city of 11 million to Junction City. So we made the decision for her education to be in Manhattan. Had I been required, had I not been given an exception, I would have had to politely decline the position. In this market and in recruiting, I think it's imperative that we find the top talent, regardless of where they reside, within reason, right? So we want to continue building on this community. We want to bring in new ideas. We want to bring in new perspectives, new experiences. How do we do that if we're only selecting individuals that live within these confines? So that's just kind of my perspective. I just wanted to be blunt about, had that been a final straw, I would have had to politely decline the position.
Ms. Kingsbury, may I ask you, how long is your commute each day?
It takes me about 20 minutes.
Okay.
And I'm here now
You're
also.
willing to wake up extra early and make that commute to come and serve our city?
Yep, and I go home and I take my dog out before commission and I come back and I go home and feed my daughter and I come back and, yeah. So dedication is dedication.
Yeah, my personal experience, speaking of that, is I moved from a town of 3,000 thousand people when I was a junior in high school. And it was a culture shock to come here. I came from a town like Chapman in Illinois. It's the best thing I ever did was to move to this town when I was 15. So regardless of the culture shock, which it was, it can be a good thing to live here, and I will hold to that position.
Certainly.
And if there are other sections of this that you look through, shoot Ms. Kingsbury and I an email, and that way we can address it or look at it. Because my main thing is we want to get this going and get it up and going and get compliant, because these are some of the better practices out there when you start looking at leave. Because one of the things, to be honest, is post-COVID, the workplace has changed. And so one of the things that we've done is implement some of that while still being true to the EEOC, being true to Fair Labor Standards Act, being true to ADA, PWFA, all those various accommodations, putting in good practices for software, hardware, city equipment, bereavement. We increase bereavement because it matches the state policy. That way we're competitive on that. We're not like, hey, here's your 2 days because your mom died. That's where we're at right now as a policy.
Oof,
Yeah, that's
rough.
and so just various things that we're doing to try to be update on that and also make it smoother and easier to understand. Yes, there are 26 sections on 187 pages, but you hit control with the mouse and you can find the section you're looking at, and they're all have subsections labeled. And we also have an AI policy, a social media policy. And so all those things they're things that need to be in there that weren't or need to be updated and haven't been.
So we can just make a motion to pass E and take the time to go through everything else, because I'd like to do that because I feel like I did not get through it.
Yeah, no, that's
I'll second
yeah.
that.
Like I said, I didn't expect that to get passed tonight. I had hopes, but I knew that they were small.
Yeah, I'll second the motion to adopt the resolution R3128 as suggested by the city manager. At least you get that done.
And I'd like to notate, it made me quite happy to see the updated verbiage regarding body art, piercings, and grooming. I definitely think in 2026, as long as nothing is hateful or vulgar or lewd, it has nothing to do with how you perform. I was very happy to see that.
We spent about 4 to 6 weeks on that section.
Really?
Yes.
I'm sure it made a lot of people happy, including myself. I think I'd be a hypocrite, you know?
Some happy, some unhappy.
So may I ask, so it's been moved and seconded to address the section E, or I forgot which one it was. But
Resolution R3128.
Correct.
Bottom of the page.
So
E.
was the motion to table D for
Yes.
further discussion and additionally pass E?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't make a motion to table one. I can make any
You want me to make the motion to table?
I'm just making sure I understand what I'm yay, nay.
I'd recommend one motion at a time, but yeah.
so Commissioner Nimzik, you made the first motion. Would you mind clarifying that, please?
Okay, I made the motion to pass E of the consideration of resolution number R-3128. And that's the personnel policy handbook.
second.
So it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor respond by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. I do have a question about D. Do we just simply move on beyond D?
You can, because we're gonna bring it back again, so it's fine.
So much, okay, all right.
And just for a time frame, do you want me to bring it up next meeting or do we want to wait 2 meetings?
I feel comfortable with the next meeting, and I suppose we will have a retreat, I believe, is it
March
right
21st.
after?
March
The
21st.
retreat is the 21st. and
after the next
is
meeting.
the 14th, so I would
Okay.
suggest that we move it to April.
I agree.
I do too.
But we can put my notes on when we're going to do it.
So that motion carries, and we're going to go on to F, consideration of HDR work change directive number 120 to provide a conditioned airspace for the elevator at the water treatment plant in the amount of $29,298.
Mayor and Commissioners, Work Change Directive 120 is to provide conditioned airspace for the elevator at the water treatment plant. This is due to current code requirements, state fire marshal. recommends temperature and humidity control in the area elevator equipment rooms to prolong the life of the equipment. The proposal is in the amount of $29,298.
Where did this code come from? Is this a new code?
ASME A 17.1, 2.7.9,
Is this new code? Is this existing code?
existing code.
Is there a reason we didn't anticipate existing code in this plan?
Yes, when they were doing the project, they realized the elevator doesn't work, period. The whole elevator system has to be rebuilt, except for the hole that's that bad. And this is part of it because it was never in there before. State code requires it. That's why we have to come back and do the change order to get this added in there to meet code.
So we didn't plan on this because we didn't plan on the elevator, period, is what I'm hearing.
Correct. We didn't know how bad the elevator was till we get in there, but the whole thing is bad. The whole thing has to be gone.
And when you make the changes, then the code
The
comes in.
code comes into play, okay.
Right,
Because
because you
when I
touched
saw the verbiage that it was due to code requirement, my little project manager brain started spinning and I'm like, how did we miss a code here, folks? So,
This piece here was actually briefed about, I gave you guys an update maybe 2 months ago when I said we had like 60,000 left for the wastewater, for the water treatment plant, I think it was. Anyways, this was already part of that budgeted amount. So we've been tracking it for a while. It's already been committed. This is just obligated now.
okay.
And it took a fair amount of research to go through the state fire marshal and to find the ASME code that's referenced.
That's, my blood pressure dropped a little bit, thank you.
Move to approve or change directive number 120 after that.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Unfinished business. We will be bringing the traffic study discussion up at a later date. So we'll move on to public comment. Rick Dykstra. The commission requests that comments be limited to a maximum of 5 minutes, and state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Rick Dykstra of Milford Township. I arrived here in 1979 as a Big Red One soldier. In fact, I lived at 135 and a half East 17th Street. I chose to stay here because of the outdoors, the history, and the diversity of people. I've served with the Junction City Police Department and with the Convention and Visitors Bureau. For decades, I've been in this arena, being on teams that recruited and executed local and national outdoor music and historic related events and promoting our communities. I know some of you judge, not you, but some people have judged my passion as being too aggressive. But that passion comes from a deep, lifelong love for this area, for our outdoors, our history, and incredible diversity of our people who call this city and county home. I've watched us struggle for 45 years to find our voice, and now I refuse to stay quiet when I see our potential being ignored. Now, Junction City has a North Star to guide it. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers just gave you one, a massive one. In 2024, Milford Lake had 1.25 million visitors. This past year, that jumped to 1.37 million. We sent a press release on February 26th in the AM hours. We sent to the media, government organizations, tourism organizations. You know what we heard? Almost total silence. Almost total silence.
Where was it?
It's the same old story. Positive news about Junction City, Geary County is buried while neighbors get the headlines. Commissioners, if the outside world and even some on the inside won't tell our story, then we all must get on that rooftop and yell it loud. To put the 137 million in perspective, look at our neighbors. The Flint Hills Discovery Center in Manhattan recently celebrated a record year, as reported by the Manhattan Mercury dated February 3rd, 2026. The center had a 2025 economic impact of over $3 million, with a total of 86,015 people served, and they are rightfully proud of that number. But if 86,000 is a record for them, what does 1.37 mean for us? That is nearly 16 times their traffic, It is double the annual attendance of the Sedgwick County Zoo, which often claims to be the #1 outdoor attraction in Kansas. We are a great outdoor destination with outstanding history, yet many of you are hiding under a bush. Why does this matter? It matters because of our ambiance. Right now, a newly arrived soldier or a visitor driving through our streets doesn't see a world-class backyard that we have. There's a gap between who we say we are and who we actually are. Nationally respected tourism expert Roger Brooks says you never get a second chance to make a first impression. If you don't look like a destination, people are not going to treat you like one. He found out that 10% of all people who stop in town do so because they see out what they see out their window. Currently, what they see as they enter Junction City doesn't reflect the fishing capital of Kansas, our great outdoors, or even our military legacy. We claim to be Fort Riley's hometown, but we don't show it. Why does a town like Waukegan have an F-14 Tomcat on display while the front door of the 1st Infantry Division is silent? 2026 is the year of legacy for Fort Riley. What better time for everybody to be bold? We need military hardware and grand monuments at our entranceway so that no one, and I mean no one, can drive in this city without knowing that we're the home of the Big Red One. The work by the city and the Junction City Main Street program on downtown and the work on revitalization of Grand Avenue is vital. But while we rebuild the bones of our city, we must realize the outdoors is ready to go today. Travelers today want an authentic experience. They want a base camp that connects our outdoors with our history, the 9th and 10th Buffalo Soldier, Fort Riley, Heritage Park, with the fishing capital of Kansas. Our soldiers and their families want this. The outdoors is the #1 quality of life factor. It's why they stay. You cannot be a world-class military hometown if you ignore the very backyard that makes families want to call Junction City home. We don't need more outsiders to tell us who we are. We have outdoors experts who speak the language and can help your city make that long-term outdoor connection. The numbers provided by the Corps of Engineers are the gold standard for federal funding and infrastructure. They prove that Junction City sits on the doorsteps of a massive active market. By embracing the outdoors in our city design and messaging, we ensure that 1.3 million visitors see Junction City as a home base, not just a pass-through. Let's be bold. Let's transform our entranceway to reflect our pride. Let's become a base camp for our great outdoors and finally look like the hometown of Fort Riley. Thank you, and I do have handouts that kind of show an example of maybe a sign and consolidate the things I've just spoken about.
Sir, can you remind me how to say your name? I apologize.
Rick Dykstra.
Dykstra?
Most
Mr.
people here know me.
Mr. Dykstra, thank you. I'm glad that you attended today.
Yeah,
And I appreciate your passion. Thank you for your service as well, sir. Oh,
Doesn't that look nice?
yes.
Nice sign for an entranceway.
You know,
Made of
word on the
limestone.
street, there's about to be a big old roundabout in front of one of our gates. Maybe we could put something in the middle of it.
Maybe we could.
Rick, could you stay there for just a moment, if that's okay, and
Sure.
see if there's any questions?
Yes, anybody have questions? I'll answer.
Yeah, you've been a champion of Milford Lake for a long time. My question is, with this is a visitors to the lake that you talked about, the 1.3 million.
1.37.
Yeah, we have a newspaper that's published once a week. I saw it, I think, on Facebook. So where else do you think we should be promoting this on social media?
Us or?
I saw it too. I think it was on Facebook. I'm not
I
exactly
believe
sure.
Commissioner Trish Giorgiano.
Yes, she did.
Shared the press release, I believe.
City manager responded.
Okay.
I'm talking about media and media outlets and,
Media outlets.
and tourism outlets and government outlets that said nothing. And still, most media, we had KCLY was first. JC Post picked it up 2 days ago or 3 days, called me, and that's been it for the media. This is a huge story.
I sent it to 2 government officials, the USDA rep
Yes.
and the RERC committee over in DC, wherever they're at.
This is a
They're
big
happy.
story for us, and we should embrace it. We should be jumping up and down. Oh, go ahead, sir.
Well, yeah, well, I got it, Rick. My question is, the CVB, Convention and Visitors Bureau.
That's my question as well.
What, beyond a sign like this, what do you suggest that they do? And have you
Well,
asked the director
no.
and the staff
Uh,
and the board?
When many years ago, when I worked at the CB, we proposed almost a similar sign. The cost way back then was $13,000. When we went to approach the city, it was the city manager, we said, we'll pay $9 if you'll pay $4, and he said, I'm not paying nothing. You're right. This kind of a sign, they should pay for it.
CVB budget?
Oh,
They've got plenty of money, don't they?
I believe, you mentioned in our joint meeting there, the county and potentially the CVB hand in hand is working on a PR campaign of sorts. I'm not sure if this is something they
I
can.
wonder, does Katie want to come up and talk about that?
I'll make no comment. That's not related to this at all.
All right.
That's an in-town thing.
Rick, I do want to add, and I do want to invite you. So we are the finalists for the recreational economy for rural communities, and I don't think you and I have had a chance to speak a whole lot. So there, number one, you're right. We need to toot our horn, and that's where we're headed. And so on May 27th in the evening, 4:30 to 7:30 at the municipal building, and May 28th all day, if you could be there. I don't know if you know this, but the EPA, the USDA Forestry Service, the Northern Border Regional Commission, the Appalachian Commission, and the Denali Commission, as well as consultants, will be coming to our community to say, hey guys, what do you want? Where are you going? How do you want to get there? And I'd love for you to be there. You and I spoke hours and hours about the wonders of our communities.
And I love hearing that, but again, we don't need outside people to tell us what we need to be doing. We need to be doing it. We need to be excited. We need to be, I know there's excuses. I'm not here, I'm on public comment session, but I'm just saying, all too long, oh, we're gonna study it. We're gonna get on that. We're gonna wait. We're gonna do, and then we end up doing nothing, nothing. And that's been the problem ever since I've been here.
Well, I want to make, Perry Wiggins.
I know him.
And former Commissioner Gutierrez had said that we need to do something very grandiose at the entrance of Grand Avenue. My personal preference is that I'm not really ready to do that until we get Grand Avenue looking better, a lot better. There are a lot of things that we could be doing that we are not yet doing. The 2-inch overlay will be good, but there's some other things out there. I want to be proud of Grand Avenue when we put up whatever we're going to put up.
I want to be proud of our entranceways. Go there and look at it. Be realist. Don't make it up. Act like you're a visitor and come off I-70 on Washington. What does it tell you? Do that on 77. What does it tell you? You don't know nothing because this town doesn't show it. And that's how passionate. I'm not being disrespectful to you, you ma'am, you ma'am, or you ma'am. But it's the truth. Show me where it says we're Fort Riley's hometown. Show me where we have this great outdoors. Forget Milford Lake. We're in the Central Flyway, headwaters of the Kansas River, the Flint Hills. One last story, and I'm gonna get out of here. One last story, sir. Let me, please, go ahead.
The roundabout entrance, I thought looked pretty good. I think it was on Chestnut. Looks pretty good compared to last year.
But no disrespect, but a Native American hole in the skull has nothing to do with this community. Nothing. It was a donated piece of art. It has nothing to do with it.
I bet it was this. We settled this place when the Native Americans were here.
But that has. I'm not saying that. I'm saying though, we didn't. I know this for a fact. We had no Native Americans that are original to this area. The call wasn't here. The call was down by. Okay, we won't discuss. Let me just say one last thing, sir. When the Flint Hill sign went up on I-70, I want to challenge everybody. Look at the KDOT bid to this day. Go back in the records and look at the Kansas Department of Transportation bid for the Flint Hill sign. It was supposed to be between Salina and Abilene where the Flint Hills actually start. But you know what they said? When they put it there and I raised all kinds of cane, they said this: we didn't want people to go through Junction City as part of the Flint Hills. And I came and reported to the city and county and other people, and you know what they said? Nothing. It took 13 years just to get entering the Freedom's Frontier National Heritage Area. 13, thank you, Commissioner Giordano, but 13 years just to get that sign up on the interstate.
The entrance, the roundabout on Washington Street is a monument voted on by the people, which is the soldiers.
Well, on Chestnut Street, sir, it should.
No, Washington.
Again, barely can see it. Where's our? Oh, I'm not going to get into it. You folks know how I feel. You know how I feel. We're lacking. We're lacking. If you're okay with that, it's okay with me. At least I know I spoke up, and I know your entranceways, what they look like, and I know what you say, but what you actually do. So I don't mean to be disrespectful, but this heart pounds big for this community, and always has. And people say, oh, you're too aggressive. I speak the truth. And I can stand proudly and say I've never not spoke the truth. But there's a lot of people out there that don't know Rick Dykstra, but they judge me. Well, so be it.
Mr. Dykstra, I'd like to thank you for speaking at public comment
Yeah.
today. We recently had a discussion that implied we might continue to restrict our ability to participate in these conversations. And it's times like today that I'm glad that we allow our commissioners to participate in these conversations and continue to keep public comment. So thank you
Yes.
very much for attending and
Thank you
speaking
all.
to us.
Thank you, thank you. All right. Carl Taylor is on here, but I wonder if he presented earlier for
He
public.
came to see me, said he had a situation that came up he had to deal with. We apologized and then leave.
Okay, okay. Then we'll move on to commissioner comments and committee reports. And so Commissioner Panera.
Yes, at our retreat, I want to give our finance director a heads up on what I would like for the commission to hear. I'd like to hear about the different fund balances, the money that's available, and the reserves that you have set aside and what you're recommending. That's just to give you a heads up.
Perfect.
I'm not asking personally for you to tell us everything about your job, and I'd also like to hear about the, what our different bid proposal prospects are, how the RFPs, all those processes, what we need to do, and who signs off on those things that we pass off on before they get to us. And I'm not asking you to spend a whole day there, but I think we need to know some of these things, which we were not told well before you came on, the funds that were available by the previous full-time city manager. We found out that there were a lot more funds available than we thought. And I would like this commission to know what we have available that we can spend. And those are the two major issues that I would like to hear from you about. That's all.
Commissioner Nimzit? Commissioner Landon?
Just a few things. It's great that we have our trash pickup going on next month, but there's already tons of trash everywhere, folks. It's everywhere. I bought myself a bike for Christmas this year, and one of our good rides Sunday, go down Golden Belt. I could not believe the amount of trash that's just tossed out of people's cars on that. I mean, it's beyond comprehension. I've got tomorrow off, I'm gonna see what I can do out there. It's not raining much, but, if there are volunteer groups in town looking for something to do, there's plenty to do. Let's get your crew together, get some trash bags, and go to it. Just pick a part of town and make it happen. I like the bike lane on 8th Street. I took a good ride, Golden Belt to Spring Valley Road, back on the trail by the grade school, or the middle school, and across 77 and down 8th Street. That was really nice. So to see that. So attended the gala event last Saturday night for the Magdalene Project. It was a nice fundraiser. They did a good job, and I support and applaud their efforts. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Yaskowitz?
Thank you. I've got a couple items. I also attended that gala. It was very well done. It was very nice to hear about some of the success stories they've had from the Magdalene Project. And of course, I like jazz. It was pretty nice to sit and listen to some good jazz music, and there was some good eats too, and of course, supporting a good cause. Outside of that, I do also want to remind everybody that March 4th, and here in just a couple days at 10 a.m., they're doing a statewide tornado drill. So if at 10 a.m. you hear the tornado siren go off, do not hit the deck, do not hide in your basement. It is just a practice to make sure we have everything right and tidy. We've even asked the tornadoes not to hit us that day. So please bear with us when you hear those sirens go off. The last thing that I will notate upon is our audio situations. We've had quite a few on and off discussions with our IT folks about our network and our audio at this time, and you'll see me often in these live stream chats asking when you're having audio issues, is it everybody, is it certain individuals? And more often than not, what I am hearing is that it is certain microphones, which leads me to believe it is a matter of how close we are to the microphone and how we are speaking into it. So for anyone, when we're speaking into these microphones, please make sure that you're getting uncomfortably close to it. I've also been told by our IT folks that You must approach it like a straw, head on. We should not speak sideways into it. We should speak directly into it as close as possible. I hope this will also help us to continue mitigating these audio issues so that our people know what's going on. And that's about all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to go ahead and just share. I've been working with a CEO of the Network Kansas, Eric Peterson, to bring some of our businesses to Destination Boot Camp out in Colorado, and so we'll continue to work with that situation. I was able to attend a meet and greet with the 4-star General Donahue, and I think his rank was called Command Sergeant Major Mullinax of the U.S. Army and U.S. Army Europe and African Command. I had a chance to introduce Jimmy Joe Jansenius, the State Director for the Kansas Rural Development USDA, to Kim, Ray, and Chris, establishing a relationship towards economic development in Junction City, Geary County. Attended the High Five Friday with the Junction City Police Department at St. X, and that's always just real fun. Continued to meet with the veterans organizations, lots of veterans organizations, as we prepare for Freedom Sings, which combined with the Patriotic Sing will launch Freedom Fest on July 1 at 5:30 to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States. Met with Katie Bowers, Community Relations Area Manager with the Kansas Gas Services for educational purposes. Presented at the USD 475 City County Joint Meeting. Participated in the Kansas Main Street Quarterly Training in Topeka. Enjoyed participating in the Big Red One last Wednesday. Had a chance to do PT with them and was able to move the next day. Attended the MAC Breakfast, League of Kansas Municipalities webinar training, marketing campaign meeting, and met with Tyler Mason and Reed Petty, sharing updates in our community. We just Friday completed the 2-hour RERC community self-assessment this past Friday. Had a great turnout from those who are on the steering committee. Was grateful to ride around with Brandy Rollins to learn more about the process for blights and codes. I really appreciate her time and Steve arranging that for us. Met with Danny Hallgren at Kansas Community Healthcare Center, establishing a stronger relationship with them, and then preparing for the legislative spouses to come in tomorrow for a Fort Riley tour and Junction City High School tour and downtown tour. So thank you. Mr. Zimmerman.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, I don't have anything, thanks.
Mr. Stites.
I've had enough tonight.
Mr. Wilcox.
Nothing tonight.
Mrs. Diaz Lorenzo. Mr. Dare.
Hi, Mike. Nothing, ma'am.
Mr. Osborne. Mr. Ibarra.
Just a brief update on the street projects that we got going on. The one at 8th and Franklin is part of the citywide concrete that will start March 16th. Completion date is May 1st. Grand Avenue will start on mid-May and completion date is July 1st. Westwood Boulevard, right now we're doing final design on that. We had to make several changes because of stormwater issues. So it'll be bid out in late March, and then street maintenance will bid out sometime in late April. And the 12th Street Community Center parking lot will be, start date is April the 6th, and the completion date is August 1st. And Trooper Bridge is out for bid currently right now, and we're waiting for the bids to come in. And
before we do the Grand Avenue overlay, are we gonna seal any of those cracks out there, or is that required before the overlay?
And then what we'll first do is mill it first, and then we'll take a look at it and see what needs to be done, if there's anything that needs to be done underneath it structurally, before we put that 2-inch overlay on.
Have we talked to, I know you've been doing this a long time, I'm really curious because doing the milling, is it gonna level out the east end where we have all those bumps that Public Works?
They will take that off.
And will so doing crack filling before the milling is not required?
No, because you'll take that material out. You might as well wait till you mill it off, take a look at the substructure underneath there, and make that determination before you put the 2-inch mill on. 2-inch
So
overlay
it
on.
won't be harder to discern the cracks when you mill it down?
Now, if there's big enough cracks that gone past penetrated that, you'll see them.
Okay. And when you're at 8th and Franklin, I was gonna tell the city manager about that. There's a tree on the other corner that's been there. It has no leaves. It's probably about 8 feet tall. And it's bare bones. Is that the city or county's responsibility on that corner? It'd be the
It'd be the city,
Southwest,
it'd be the cities, if it's in that square,
it is.
yeah, it'd be the cities and Parks and Rec responsibility to take care of that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Spraggins?
Nothing.
Chief Lakis? Chief Nichols?
Something quick, Friday the sixth is, Employee Appreciation Day. So, and this is actually Employee Appreciation Week, just want to say to all the city employees and everybody.
Chief Nichols, I'm sorry, could I talk you into coming to the microphone so everybody can hear you out?
Yes,
Would you
you
mind?
can.
Thank you so much.
If you say it loud enough, it might pick it up.
Imagine a straw.
Imagine a straw, per IT, speak close and direct and forward. Thank you, sir.
I got you. This is, National Employee Week, and actually Friday, the 6th of March is Employee Appreciation Day. So I just want to give a shout out to all the city employees and everybody else that's employed in the city, so.
Love it.
Yes, ma'am.
Are we doing anything to celebrate them? Are we providing any food or snacks or shenanigans?
Come by the PDNC.
Well, listen, I just might.
My wife's making me do some stuff.
She's making you. That's not very appreciative of her.
Yeah, we're gonna do something, so.
Okay, cool. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gray? Ms. Kingsbury? And Mrs. O'Shea?
Second.
Aye.
Aye. Woo.
Aye. Motion carries.
My computer's having issues